Today we're at the back nine in Augusta, Georgia with Kevin Kisner, four-time PGA Tour winner, TGL competitor, and one of the most relatable pros in the game. All right, Kiz, you grew up in Aiken, South Carolina. When did golf become something important in your life?
Well, as a child, I grew up, that's what I did to get away from my parents. I went to the golf course and charged their accounts with all the lunches and snacks I could come up with. And, we played golf, then we swim in the pool and then go back and play golf. And it was basically like our playground as a kid. And, just something that I started figuring out I was pretty good at a young age. And I still like to play all the sports, but as I got older, I realized I might need to stick to the golf thing.
Georgia Bulldog, tell us what it was like being part of the 2005 NCAA championship team.
Yeah, it was such a cool experience to be, golf's such an individual sport. To have a team atmosphere is something I always loved to be a part of, still do in Ryder Cups, President's Cups, anything like that. But to succeed at the highest level with a team, there's no better joy, right? Is a collective group to all come together and it worked out. It was a really cool experience and something we will always cherish.
With nearly 50 top 10 finishes on the tour, that's a heck of a career. What was it like to get your first win?
Well, the best part is I still talk to Steve Sands about this when we're doing TV now, is I didn't get to have the question of, are you the best player to never win on tour? So once I got that off of my back, they couldn't ask that anymore. But it was a great experience. It was one of those things where I knew if I kept putting myself in the position, sooner or later it was going to happen. And to be able to do it at St. Simon's, a place that we played the SEC championship all my career, it's so special to me and my family. It was a really cool experience. And to have my daughter run out there on the green, like that's what you grow up dreaming of. So that was a cool way to cap it all off.
Love that. How old was she when you won that?
She was 2 then, and so now she's getting ready to turn 11.
Long career. What's the biggest difference from when you first started playing professional golf to now as a veteran and all the accolades, all the finishes? How do you see that with your new perspective on things?
Well, I think the hardest part in our job is how much we're gone and trying to have a family and adapt to that lifestyle. 3 kids now and missing all the stuff they're doing while I'm on the road. And they, when they're younger, they could travel with me. Now they don't get to travel between school and they don't want to miss their activities and friends either. So that's an interesting dynamic. And also what I've noticed just from a tour perspective is how much more prepared the new guys, the younger guys are. When I got on tour, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I just was fortunate enough to be pretty good enough to get out there. Now these guys come out and they're so prepared. There's so much technology. They know so much about the swing and the game. Like we didn't have any radars or any full swing or foresight or any of those when I first got out. And in fact, I thought that the face curved the ball and the path started the ball when I first got on tour. So that was the way I was taught as a kid. And then I got on tour and I heard this guy say the other way and I'm like, what is he talking about? And now it's like, kid couldn't have believed that I think that.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Probably isn't a very hard question, but what's the best course on the PGA Tour?
That's a hard one because, I relate like the whole tournament experience. So one of the places I won is Colonial. I love it because the members run the golf tournament and the golf course is sweet. I think it's an awesome venue. And then when you have the membership of the club, which doesn't happen every week, run the tournament, they're passionate about a product, right? Most of the time these guys are corporate or we play a TBC, which they all want to do great too. But when the membership of the club gets behind it, I think it's really sweet. So that's one of my favorites. Obviously, Augusta National right down the road is a cherished ground. I don't really consider it a PGA Tour course, but I think Sawgrass in May is great because we don't play on overseed. We've turned so much into playing an overseed courses this time of year in Florida, and I grew up on Bermuda grass, so I'm like, you're ruining the best part of the courses. And then Hilton Head, I love playing down there in my home state, and I think it's such an iconic layout that bombers don't have all the advantage.
Amen.
Yeah.
You've been in some wild playoffs. What's been your favorite or most thrilling moment from your career?
Well, I think the Players Playoff is one I'll always, think about when it comes to that. But I also think the one at Hilton Head with Jim Furyk was amazing. He was obviously an idol of mine growing up. If you had a career on the PGA Tour, you'd want to mold like Jim Furyk. He was the perfect guy. He played on all the teams. He won multiple times. He's a great leader, great competitor. And then I'm sitting there thinking I've won that golf tournament 2 or 3 times in that playoff and still didn't. So I think that kind of lit the fire on me, and that was the first one of that year. And then I got into the one with Sergio and Ricky and the Players and played great, played the first 3 holes and 1 under and then go back and he birdied 17. But I'll never forget when his ball left the club on 17 in that playoff. I said, I just won the Players Championship because I thought I was going in the water. And then it landed and I said, I just lost the Players Championship. So the whole emotions of that ball flight is something I always remember.
Wow. Can you talk to us a little bit about the Kisner Foundation? What inspired it and what's the mission?
So when we, I might have to get Leanna over here for that one, but no, when we started it was because I was going to make a team, and part of the team deal was you get a large donation to charity of your choice. And I thought, well, if this is a perfect opportunity for us to do a lot of good in our hometown of Aiken, South Carolina, or the CSRA, which includes Augusta. And so we started it, and we started with that money, and then we started holding events, and I didn't know if it was going to sell or if it was going to make money, and it continued to make money, and we've been really successful. We've got, you know, a couple huge projects, one here in Augusta at Children's Hospital. We have our own program called Tee Up to Read, where we provide children a book a month from 0 to 5 that we fund and take care of that entire project. And we're here for health, education, and participation in sports for kids.
I love that. How has giving back to your hometown of Aiken shaped your career and life outside of golf?
Well, I think I get as much recognition around town for that as anything, as much as the golf accolades. And, you know, anytime you can improve the life of a child, you're going to improve society, right? So we're always trying to help those in need and help, you know, shape a path for the future of a child. What we learned is the COVID pandemic really changed the way children interact and behave, and we're trying to help save the wrong direction of that course with our pediatric program with the hospital. And you know, any ways that we can help, we're always around. My wife's super into that, and we have Leanna Wana that is our executive director, and they work great together, and I just come around and help them raise money.
What does Kevin Kisner do when you're not playing golf?
Well, I'm either with my children at ball games, so I'm you know, driving taxi service basically for them, going from one game or practice to the other. And then I love to be outdoors, so I love to hunt and fish with them. They're just getting to the age where it's good to take them and let them enjoy the outdoors and see that what all there is to offer. I try to keep them away from indoors and on screens. And then other than that, you know, hanging out with friends, going to the golf course and making fun of people. I love doing that.
So what advice do you have, if any, being a dad that went through a professional golf career, now business and broadcasting, and myself, I've got 3 little kids on the road a lot. I'm curious what you would say, golfer, professional athlete, business person, you're around family and parenting and being a good dad.
What I think is the most important is quality time when you're with them. It's so easy with the 24/7 access that we have in life now to not be always as present as you should, even when you have 3 kids asking you a million questions. So I try to be strict on paying attention as much as I can when I am there, because there's so many weeks where I'm not around and I'm, you know, FaceTiming and learning about things over the phone. And so when I'm with them, I try to make sure that I'm spending quality time with them.
It's not easy these days.
No, people call you at 9 p.m. It's as easy as 9 a.m. anymore. Text messaging has changed the world of connection.
It's true. Let's talk about the TGL. What was that like playing in the TGL this year with Jupiter Links?
First of all, I wasn't able to get down there for practice or see the arena before the first match, and I was blown away at the facility. I was blown away at the technology. I just really didn't expect it to be as big and grand as it was. And it was a really cool experience. You know, obviously anytime you hang out with Tiger Woods, it's fun. Him and I have been close for a while, and enjoy being around him. We didn't play our best in the TGL, so we have a lot to practice, but it's what fascinates me about older guys and the technology and the younger guys is, you know, if you tell me to hit into that screen 152 yards, it doesn't work in my brain, because I want to see trees or a bunker or the whole location and feel it. And those kids, man, they're like computer kids. They can just be like, oh, okay, that's a pitching wedge. Just hit it at that pole right there. All right, perfect. And I just can't, my brain doesn't, you know, I have to understand where to miss it and all that. So it took some getting used to for me, especially how far the screen is from the hitting location, like 40 or 50 yards, and how vast it is, because this is the only simulators I have ever hit in until we went there. And for you to see the ball curving till it gets to the screen is weird, because in here, you don't even really pick the ball up by the time it hits the screen and it's already flying.
The craziest thing for me is to watch the ball travel through the air, and then like right as it hits, it picks up into the virtual world. It's just kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Something that's never been done.
Yeah, the curve to me is the
to seeing how much it's curving right as it hits it, and how different everybody played it. Just because the pole's in the middle of the green, not every player hit the pole, you know, and the ball went straight. And a lot of guys were curving it in there, and very interesting.
Feel like you have something to prove next year?
Yeah, it's time. It's redemption year is what I'm calling it.
I like it.
For Tiger and I.
I like that. How do you use simulators to prepare for PGA Tour events today versus, you know, a few years ago? Or if, you know, do you regularly use simulators?
For sure. I obviously live in Aiken, South Carolina year round. I don't travel south when it gets cold. So a lot of the winter months, you know, when it's 50 or below and blowing, I go in the simulator and just work on curves, work on distances. I don't think I hit it as far on the simulator as I do outside, but I just go in there to stay loose, to be honest with you. And the technology data stuff, you know, I've done enough of it that I can watch a curve and tell you what the numbers are gonna say. But it's still great to work on wedge distances. If I'm working on driver speed, you know, I can see instantly what that club speed was or what that ball speed was, and know if what I tried or worked on increased. And on the wedge control or distance control, you know, my big thing is to hit and guess before the number comes how far it flew.
It's great insight. How did you hear about the back nine, and what inspired you to decide to do a back nine here in Augusta as well as Aiken?
Well, my partner Clay Boardman and I were chatting about it one day because I was thinking of just doing something similar to this concept in Aiken without knowing about the franchise, and he told me that he wanted to do a couple of these and was already owning some of the rights to the franchise. So he's like, why don't we just do one together? And I'm like, okay. And we had a few more conversations, and next thing I know, we found a location in Augusta and got the ball rolling. And obviously the team's been fantastic, and we got it done in time for the Masters, which is really cool, and gonna have a big opening here in a couple weeks. And I think it's gonna be a great concept for the town. I think the local community is gonna love it. It's obviously a big golf community with Augusta Country Club, Augusta National right here. And then in Aiken, you know, we're just gonna bully our friends into coming and playing with us.
We're happy to have you.
Yeah, I deserve it, man.
What's the biggest issue amateur golfers deal with that you've seen?
They all stay on their back foot and swing over the top. Everyone hits a slice.
That was quick.
Yeah.
That was quick.
And they always underclub.
All right.
I never see an amateur hit it over the green unless they scull it out of a bunker.
Well, I traveled all the way here to get my swing critique.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. So yeah.
If you get a slice, I just call you right like I did.
Perfect. Who's the funniest guy on tour?
Oh, man. There's quite a few characters. I like the dry wit of like Gary Woodland. Brian Harmon is one of my good friends, so I love his one-liners that people don't catch on too fast because he's so quick-witted. There's a bunch of good dudes, and we all are from different aspects of life, different times in life, and different parts of the country, so it's fun to get in the locker room where everybody can cut loose a little bit and see what makes everybody tick.
Favorite club in your bag?
Putter. Makes all the money. It's been treating me poorly this year though so far, so I got to give it a little talking to every once in a while.
Where can people go to follow and support the Kisner Foundation?
Well, we have our website, KisnerFoundation.com, where you can support us and follow us on social media, on Instagram and X and various other social media posts. And, you know, we do a pretty good job of getting the information out there, and we'd love for anybody to support us and to keep up with us.
Any final advice to young golfers and weekend warriors out there trying to get better at golf?
The young golfers need to hit it as hard as they can. The weekend warriors need to hit more club.
Great advice. We appreciate you, Kevin, for taking the time to visit with us. If you want to train like Kevin and become a pro golfer, the Back Nine Golf in Augusta, Georgia is the place to do it. It's never been easier to practice like a pro with full swing tech, data you can trust, unlimited 24/7 access to some of the best courses in the world. Sign up today.